This segment of Delmarva Life is brought to you by Peninsula Regional Medical Center.
Recent tragedies have prompted a call to make changes in the way youth sports are played. You may remember hearing quarterback and honor student Evan Murray died last month after a direct hit during a game. The autopsy revealed Evan bled internally after his spleen ruptured. One mother whose children were at the game says it was difficult for them to watch.
They saw him get hit hard, but he walked off the field on his own power, and later on the sideline he collapsed and was taken in the ambulance.
Friends say the family's grief unimaginable. Evan was their only child.
Wow. And yet another tragedy. 17-year-old high school football player Andre Smith died last week. His family says Andre was hit on the last play of a game and collapsed after walking off the field. He was taken to a hospital and died the next morning. Relatives say Andre's brain had swelling.
I didn't know what to do. It just killed everything inside of me. All the things people can live and die from it. You know, I never thought it would be something just as simple as that.
Andre was the 7th high school football player to die this year. Andre's stepfather says when it comes to football, you understand the risk, but it's a game, one kids have played for years.
Now, to the changes. Following those deaths and countless injuries, the American Academy of Pediatrics issued new guidelines for youth football just this week. The goal, to make the game safer. The Academy wants zero tolerance for illegal head-first hits. It says teams should have athletic trainers on the sidelines during games, and non-tackle football games should be offered as an alternative.
The co-author of the recommendations was quoted as saying, "There's too many head-to-head hits and leading with the head, known as spearing. That's been against the rules since 1976, and for some reason, referees and coaches have gotten away from enforcing that rule." So, is this the answer to stop all these tragedies?
And what do you as parents need to know to keep your kids safe? Joining us today with some insight is Dr. Carrie Forrestall, who specializes in emergency medicine at Peninsula Regional Medical Center. Thank you so much for coming in.
Thank you guys for doing this. This is very important stuff.
Now let me ask you this real quick. Your take on these guidelines, is this going to help keep our kids safer?
Well, the Academy of Pediatrics made 7 recommendations. The 3 central ones are the ones that you were talking about. Right. So the first one, zero tolerance for head-on hits. Yes, it will absolutely help. Again, as you said, it was from 1976, but it's fallen by the wayside. A lot of times I think it's difficult to enforce that because they think it's an accidental hit, right? But if you start telling these kids, well, if you have an accident, you're going to sit down for 3 games. And if you have another accident, you're done for the season, we might have fewer accidents. So that would be the first thing. As far as non-tackle, the only people who don't tackle in football are my Giants, right? So, but otherwise, if you didn't have tackling in football, it would fundamentally change the nature of the game.
Yeah.
Right. So, probably a non-starter for most people. But research is showing us from Boston University, if you can increase the age when they start tackling, right, there'll probably be less injuries. So they did some research, under 12, over 12, when they started tackling. They found the group that tackled later did better on mental acuity tests later in life. So there might be some option to either extend the period of time or start tackling later, and even create non-tackle leagues and see if they fly.
So that goes to my next question about kids. I mean, we talk about NFL, we know they're hitting each other all the time, but are kids more vulnerable to these hits than adults?
Our research shows that yes. The brain is forming through the teen years. And would you care to guess what the last section of the brain to mature is?
No idea.
Decision making.
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
So, you know, if you injure the brain while those parts are forming, of course, you know, long-term problems. And we see, again, for people who've had multiple injuries, we do see that there are deficits, cognitive deficits down the line.
Okay, so let's say that our kids do take a hit. Is there anything in particular? It doesn't seem like they're hurt. Are there any signs that we should be looking for to watch out for with these kids?
Sure. There are a number of symptoms that we see, irritability, sensitivity to light, sound. I believe you have a list there. If you look at some of these, blank stare, dazed look, changes to delayed or slowed responses, things like that. If you look at the next slide, additionally you have disorientation, memory loss of events. They also say additional sleepiness and irritability. That sounds like your average teenager to me.
That's my 17-year-old.
So
this can be hours or days later.
Yeah, it can happen as much as months later.
Wow.
So the most important thing, if a hit has happened on the field that caught your attention, or somebody makes mention of, increase your level of vigilance. And really the best indicator of all is mom and dad.
Yeah.
Right? I think you know, the smartest pediatrician I ever met said, if you always listen to mom and dad, you will never miss a diagnosis. So if mom and dad say, you know, I'm a little worried about this, bring the kid in. We want to see the kids. I'd rather say to 1,000 people, did you need to come in? Maybe not, than to say to one, God, if you'd only come in sooner.
We know
and
our
that's really
kids.
important. The other recommendation, just to go back to it, is about having a trainer on the field. And actually it's very interesting because 3 lower counties is actually ahead on this. When I was asked to do the segment, I talked to one of our medics, a very sharp lady by the name of Kim Tull. And she actually is leading the athletic trainers in the 3 lower counties. They already have the athletic trainers on the fields at the high impact, the collision possible.
Right.
They already have them. So they're already there. And in addition, this is something that they don't even have gotten to yet on the recommendations, is they do assessments in 9th grade before the kids ever take a hit. So they have a baseline before the kids ever take a hit. And when they take a hit, then they have something they can go back to. So Dr. Brandon and Kim Tull, and through Salisbury University as well, have really done amazing things that even maybe Maryland might want to look at.
Bottom line, what do you say to parents who are thinking about letting their kids play these sports?
Yeah, it is safe. I mean, we do know that, you know, that there are injuries. They can be serious. We've had these 7 deaths. On average, we'll see 3 deaths a year from athletics. Last year we had 5, the year before we had 8. It varies. But by and large, it's safe.
Just keep an eye on them.
Absolutely. Listen. Make sure that your kids understand the importance. This is something that's very important, that they understand the importance of reporting accurately. If you get hit and you know you're going to get stood down for a week, you're not going to tell anybody.
Thank you so much. So much information.
Thank you all very, very much.
And to read more from PRMC or to learn more about the new guidelines from the American Academy of Pediatrics, go to WBOC.com, click on our picture at the top of the page.
So we've heard a lot about the safety concerns of the sport, but football does have some great character building strengths. Up next, we're going to show you how this team is putting the hard hits aside and in exchange, giving young men and women the chance to succeed both on and off the field when it comes to social skills. Plus,
we look at the newest classroom debate, to stand or sit. That is the latest question, and we'll share some of the answers for both. That's next. Delmarva Life. We'll be right back.